Hey everybody, Bryce Koon here with the Crowded Booth on the latest edition of Swarm Talk presented by Section 103. You know it, you love it. We talk about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Spring football is officially in the rearview mirror. We're going to take a step by step and we're going to recap some of the big things out of spring football, starting off with the newbies, the class of 2022. How did they fare and more here on Swarm Talk.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
Hey everybody, Bryce Koon here with Swarm Talk as we're talking more and more about where Georgia Tech stands after spring football. It has concluded, and so we've got a good conversation for you today. Now we're going to break this up into a couple of different episodes. This one is talking about the newbies, the 2022 guys, the early enrollees. We got to see 5 early enrollees and their chances of making contributions as true freshmen. First off, I want to welcome you into the show. This is the Crowded Booth Sports Channel. We're a sports media company based out of Columbus, Georgia, and we talk a lot about regional, local, and national story headlines. If you're on this playlist, that means you're a Georgia Tech fan, which means you probably follow us on Twitter at the Hive GT with 24/7 sports coverage at GoJackets.com, or you follow me at Bryce_Koon, or you're in one of the Facebook groups as well. We appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop your thoughts down in the comments below, but also feel free. If you're a Braves fan, we've been rolling out some Braves previews. Make sure to do that as well. My co-host Ralph Leary and I, we're also joined by Sam Beatty as well, a good friend of ours. We talk a lot. We also have some good special guests as well. So this is the Crowded Booth. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk a little bit about spring football. It's in the rearview mirror. Most teams are kind of gearing up or just getting into their kind of full workload, but Georgia Tech's done. And so that leaves us with an opportunity to reflect on what it was. And I know a lot of people have gone back and watched the spring football game. I have as well, or the game we will call it. But I think there's a lot of different things that we can take away from kind of what happened. And I think it's going to be very interesting to talk to you today and leave your thoughts below about what you think about how the class of 22 post-spring practice kind of evaluation, how did they look? And so we're going to start this. We're going to go through this list, and I'll tell you this right now. These episodes are going to be kind of short and sweet. We're going to talk about these. We're going to get in, get out, and we're going to kind of detail it throughout, maybe offense, maybe defense, maybe special teams, and maybe just to coaching. How do we feel about how coaching as we get closer and closer to summertime? And I'm telling you, I think college football is 5 months away. I'm ready. I know you are as well to see your Jackets back on the flats. Let's start off real quick with Antonio Martin. Now, Antonio Martin is kind of the running back. He was kind of one of the heralded guys in this recruiting class that Mike Daniels was able to keep in the fold. And listen, Martin came at a time when there were only 3 scholarship running backs participating in practice. There's going to be room for another running back besides Dante Smith and Hassan Hall to see the field in 2022. And we've talked a little bit. There's some portal options. We're going to talk more about that in the coming weeks. But Martin showed the capability of developing the inside power that we saw from Jordan Mason in previous years. You know, there's a lot about Hassan Hall. We've talked about his ability to have that one cut. Dante Smith, just a great all-around back that I think is going to have a massive year into this new offense. But in my opinion, I think Antonio Martin is a guy that they don't necessarily want to force into playing time, but Martin's more than capable of being that third running back. And like we talked about, in between the tackles, he's got a lot of power. He can run you over. He can also get around you. And I think they like that a lot. We saw in the spring game that's something that they wanted to use, and they showcased that a little bit. Staying in the backfield on the offensive side of the football, we're going to stay at quarterback, and we're going to go to Zack Pyron, who's probably one of the guys that's, in my opinion, going to be redshirted. Enrolling early, what did it do? Well, it gave him a chance to get into the playbook with new quarterback coach Chris Winkie. But it also showed, and I think we saw this, is that he can be a contributor down the road. Now, Pyron did not participate in the spring game, the scrimmage of sorts, that if you were there, you saw him. But unless there's an emergency, I think he's going to use this freshman year, and I think the staff is, to play behind Jeff Sims and Zach Gibson. Now, I want to say this because I know we have some viewers, we have some family, we have other things. That's not to say that Zack Pyron's not talented. I think this kid's extremely talented. I think he outplays the ranking that we have him at 24/7's sitting in. I think he has that ability to do that down the road. But Byron's in a good spot. He's not going to be thrusted into action. He's going to be able to sit back, continue to learn the playbook, continue to learn what it takes to be a college football player. And on top of that, arguably the hardest position, the most cerebral position in all of sports, a quarterback at the college football or the NFL level. Byron's trying to master that at the college level, and so are the two guys in front of him. So I think for Byron, it's going to be very interesting to see how does he combat that? What can he do to continue to develop his game to be in a spot where maybe in 2023 he's competing for a starting job. Another one, and this is one of the big winners out of spring for me, was DJ Moore. Moore, to me, out of all of the candidates we're talking about today, probably made the most of his chances during the spring. He caught everyone's eye, and especially ours, in spring practice, being able to see him. But I think what really stood out to us was in the game, and you all saw it as well. He went about his business during practice, and I think he was given a chance during the scrimmage to show fans what they could potentially see on the field as a true freshman out of this kid. You want to have a receiver position that has a good depth. And I want to say this. We all remember Amarian Brown and the speed that he flashed in his freshman campaign. DJ Moore strikes me as a guy that could have a same type of impact. Now, there's a lot of depth at this position, but the thing about Moore that he did in the spring scrimmage and that he did during spring practice was that, one, it's the two biggest things I think you should say out of receivers. And this is what DJ Moore accomplished, in my opinion. He showed, one, the ability to create his own space. He's a great route runner. His speed kills. But a lot of times for young receivers, they understand what they can do with speed, but his innate ability to use speed and use it at an intelligent level to be able to get himself open, that's really unteachable. And then the biggest second thing is he catches the football. Catching the football, and it might say, Bryce, well, yeah, you have to do that. But the ability to just catch the football and get yourself open will get you reps and real live game reps. And I think DJ Moore really positioned himself to be in that type of position this upcoming fall. Another guy, we're going to go over to the defensive side of the football for kind of a second here, but Kyle Efford. And this is a guy that I'm telling you, he's playing behind Ace Ely, Charlie Thomas, Demetrius Knight, Trinelius Tatum, and all four kind of have secured those spots, we feel like, as the top four in the linebacker room. But I think the ability now to be able to play up to 4 games and save your red shirts still is going to be huge for Kyle Efford because he has a nose for the football. He's got the size already as a true freshman. That's going to continue to be built in the weight room with Lucarella. But going back to Efford and what he can do, I think that my projection for him is in prediction that we're going to see him a lot on special teams while still saving that red shirt. Obviously, you want to be able to win and win now with some of these pieces, but Efford is going to be a big part of what they have going on in the future. But he's the kind of guy you want your highly rated guys, your high performers, to be able to contribute from day one. Special teams, I'm telling you, he's going to have a big hit or two that you're going to want to rewind the TV and say, whoa, who was that? And it's going to be Kyle Efford. I think you're going to be seeing flying down the field, whether it's on punt or it's on kickoff. He's going to make a big play at some point this season. Another guy, and this is one of the 4-star recruits in the 2022 class, is Jalen Marshall. Marshall enrolled early, as we know, and he backed up his rating, in my opinion, with his performance this spring. Coach Tillman talked a lot about what he saw, the maturity. Other guys in that DB room talked about what they saw out of Marshall. And I think that this is a guy who has the potential to be what Jalen King was last year, where he can play in some of the defensive sub packages. He can be used in spaces, and maybe he's a guy that you don't use all of the eligibility, but maybe you do, and it's a good reason, not out of necessity. I think Jalen Marshall has that ability to be able to do that for this team, and I think he's going to be a big piece going forward. But like we talked about with Efford, who might play more special teams, Marshall, to me, we can see him playing in one of those defensive sub packages, see him come on maybe when there's a big pass threat, a pass obvious situation. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of Jalen Marshall in 2022. Now, this is something. We talked about those 5. Okay, so those are our 5 early enrollees that we saw. And I think we talked about this on signing day and early signing, late signing day, whichever one you want to talk about. For me, this was a great opportunity to see what these guys are made of and to get in early, to get into the grind of what it feels like. I mean, listen, spring ball and fall camp are two different animals. You're preparing for something where spring ball, you're kind of learning. It might be a tad bit more relaxed. But I think that Georgia Tech staff amped up a little bit this spring, and I think that they did some things that maybe they haven't done. There wasn't a lot of manufactured excitement. It was already there. And I think these guys saw that from the older guys, the new leaders on this team. And I think it's going to be interesting to see when the remaining 10 members of the 2020 class join in the month of June. How many of those guys can make an impact? We're talking about guys like Jamie Felix, Brandon Best, Tyler Gibson along that offensive line. KJ Miles is another one with Horace Lockett. And don't forget about transfer Morris Joseph Jr. out of Memphis. And listen, there's going to be more and more in the portal as we go along that Georgia Tech's really about to dive heavily. I can leave you with that tidbit right there. The portal is about to be hit hard once again. The next wave is coming for Georgia Tech, and I think they're going to be able to take advantage of that. So listen, obviously there's things we're going to talk about. Everything that we sat here and just talked about over the past 10 minutes or so, take it with a grain of salt. These are young kids. These are 17 and 18-year-old kids that are playing for the first time. But I think what we saw is that there's some good talent in this class, and a lot of those guys, 5 out of the 15 that they signed, enrolled early and got a lot of time early on. But if you had to ask me, Bryce, who's going to make the biggest impact in year one, I've got to go back to my guy, DJ Moore. This is a guy that I think, and I told you, the two things you need out of a receiver: 1, create your own space, and 2, catch the football consistently. DJ Moore showed that, obviously against a different opponent, someone else in another color jersey. That's going to be a little bit different. But Moore's more than capable, I think, of outplaying his star rating as well. And I think there's a lot of exciting things that they can do with him and that Chip Long is going to want to use in that package. The offense, I think, is going to be better. I really do believe that. A lot of people are down about this program. I get it. I understand it. But I think there's a lot of things to be excited about. And out of the 5 guys that we saw this spring, you got to look what you see. There's going to be 10 more enrolling in June. We're going to see them through summer workouts into fall camp as they get ready to open up against Clemson, where we're going to have coverage for you throughout the summer. We're not taking a break. There's no such thing as an off season. But listen, I appreciate you all joining today's show. It's a ton of fun for me to sit here and talk about this. The Georgia Tech community enjoys as well. So give it a like, share with your friends, share with your Georgia Tech alumni. Do whatever you want to make this the go-to place for Georgia Tech content. We're going to be talking more and more frequently here. Join the Discord. DM me on Twitter for more details. Follow me on Twitter at Bryce_Koon. But subscribe to the channel because we got a lot of great content coming out more and more each and every single day here on the Crowded Booth. It's Georgia Tech and our spring football review. The 2022 newcomers, they look good. We're going to see what they see out of them throughout the summer and the fall. See y'all later. We'll see you next time here on Swarm Talk.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.